Looks like it has slowed down on people joining, so I think we will go ahead and get started. So, good afternoon and welcome to today's statewide webinar hosted by SpedTech's and Partners Resource Network. My name is Sarah Untersee, and I am part of the SpedTech's team. The topic for today's webinar is Empowering Families, Navigating Special Education for Emergent Bilingual Students. The presenter for this webinar, Dr. Xochitl Annabel Rocha from TEA, will be presenting in Spanish. The English version of the presentation will be presented by a SpedTech's consultant. If you would prefer to join the Spanish webinar, we will place a link to that session in the chat. You will be prompted to complete some registration questions, and then you will be able to join the other webinar. A few reminders. This webinar is being recorded and will be posted to our SpedTech site. It usually takes about a week in order for that to be posted, but we will drop our website link in the chat so that you are able to access that once it becomes available. The chat feature is only available if you require technical assistance. However, you may put questions in the Q&A section. The presenters will review your submissions, which will help us with clarifications and FAQs in the future. There will be no live Q&A today. SpedTex is the Special Education Information Center for Texas. We're a collaborative project between Region 10 Education Service Center and the Texas Education Agency. We help parents understand their rights and responsibilities under IDEA and facilitate collaboration when there are concerns between the parent and the school district. We also serve as a resource for educators. We offer support via phone, email, live chat for families and professionals, webinars, and resources. Our contact information is on the screen. I'm now going to turn it over to Stephanie McLaughlin to share some additional information about Partners Resource Network.
Thank you, Sarah, and welcome everyone. My name is Stephanie McLaughlin. I am the Training and Evaluation Specialist for Partners Resource Network. Partners Resource Network is the nonprofit agency that operates the Texas statewide network of parent training and information centers. We are funded through the Department of Education Office of Special Education Programs. And throughout Texas, you may recognize us by the names of our projects, PACT, PAP, PIN, and TEAM. Our mission at Partners Resource Network is to empower and support Texas families and individuals impacted by disabilities or special healthcare needs. We do this through a network of highly skilled, regionally located coordinators who are knowledgeable in local policies, services, and resources, as well as state and national guidelines. Partners Resource Network provides training, information, and one-on-one assistance at no cost to Texas families and youth. We serve parents of children and youth with disabilities from birth to age 26, as well as youth self-advocates between the ages of 14 and 26. All of our services are offered in both English and Spanish. Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks, Stephanie. So the information in today's webinar is being presented in Spanish by Xochitl Annabel Rocha. Dr. Rocha is the Bilingual Programs, Policy, and Technical Assistance Manager at the Texas Education Agency. The information that she is presenting has been translated to English, and I will be sharing this during today's English webinar. Today's presentation is about how to support dually identified students and the resources families can access to foster positive educational experiences for children who are identified as emergent bilingual learners and receive special education services. It is my great pleasure to present and share with you today. Dr. Rocha serves as the Policy and Technical Assistance Manager for bilingual programs in Texas. Her role is to answer questions and to provide technical assistance on how to implement bilingual education programs effectively in order to increase academic achievement for all emergent bilingual students who participate with the consent of their parents or guardians. The goal of the Bilingual Programs Division is to provide technical assistance and necessary guidance for the agency, regions, districts, schools, and educators in Texas to have the focus and determination to support and ensure educational opportunities for all emergent bilingual students and to provide positive experiences throughout their education. Today, we are going to talk about two objectives. One is to identify the benefits of bilingual education, academic development, and bilingualism for children who may be dually identified. Two, we will explore the linguistic, and academic supports of the dually identified students in pre-K to 12th grade classrooms. The topics that will help us to achieve these two objectives will be the following. We will talk about bilingual education in Texas. We're going to talk about the academic and linguistic benefits for students who are dually identified in classrooms from elementary through high school. We will also talk about the impact on the personal and social development of students. And we're going to close with some resources that you can access as parents to promote learning from the classroom to home. Let's start with the first topic, bilingual education in Texas. Before we begin, I would like for you to think about what comes to mind when you talk or hear about bilingual education for children who may also be dually identified because they receive special education services. In this slide, we see an overview of education in Texas. The image above with the blue arrows shows us how we represent the state of Texas. Within the state, we have 20 different regions represented from north to south, east to west, and central Texas. Within the 20 regions, there are approximately 1,202 school districts, including charter schools and innovation districts. Within those districts, there are 8,872 campuses or schools from primary to secondary. That is, at levels from pre-K through 12th grade. In total, there are more than 300,000 classrooms within those schools that teach and serve over 5 million students across all Texas public schools. Of these 5,493,940 students, roughly 24%, more than 1.3 million, are identified as emergent bilingual. Of the 1,202 school districts, 99% provide bilingual education services. Special education services are also provided to emergent bilingual students who an admission, review, and dismissal committee has determined to be eligible. It is recommended that dually identified students receive both bilingual education and special education services. This approach ensures that the needs related to their disability are addressed while also supporting their linguistic development. When we look at this slide, we see how the population of emergent bilingual learners in Texas has increased every year from 18.8% in 2017 to 24.3% in 2024. This means that approximately 1 in 4 students in Texas is emergent bilingual. As we go forward, the number of students identified as emergent bilingual will likely continue to rise. Later, we will discuss the home language survey that schools give to identify emergent bilingual students. We know that using this survey supports families in elevating the languages that they speak and that their child hears at home. This helps to value the different languages that children bring to school and is one factor that contributes to the increase in emergent bilingual learners in Texas. Now we're going to talk about the population of dually identified students in schools. As we can see, there are more than 1.3 million emergent bilingual students and approximately 775,000 students who receive special education services. At the intersection of the two populations, there are 179,000 students who are dually identified as emergent bilingual and who also have a disability and receive special education services. They are nearly 13% of the bilingual student population and nearly 23% of the student population receiving special education services. The agency provides support and guidance from the Emergent Bilingual Student Support Division, the Department of Special Education, and the Assessments Department, and they continue to collaborate to strengthen guidance for this specific population. It is important that families have an understanding that children have the right by state and federal law to receive both language and special education services simultaneously without having to give up one of the programs. This is an area where we continue to raise awareness in order to provide the best educational experiences for children and be able to increase the academic performance of all students, including those who are dually identified. Here we can see examples of some resources for families that explain bilingual education programs. These resources allow families to gain understanding and knowledge of what can be provided to their children who are dually identified without the need to give up any program that provides them with access to academic achievement. On the website txel.org, parents can access videos and documents about programs specifically approved to provide language services to students who are identified as emergent bilingual, including the goals of each program as well as the steps from identification to reclassification. When a child first enrolls in a Texas public school, parents or guardians complete the home language survey. If a language other than English is represented in one of the three questions, the child will automatically be assessed to determine their level of English proficiency. The Language Proficiency Assessment Committee, or LPAC, analyzes the results of this assessment to determine if additional language support is needed. As soon as a child is identified as emergent bilingual, the LPAC will recommend a bilingual or ESL program, depending on the implementation program in the school. Parents and guardians have the opportunity to accept recommended bilingual or ESL services. Each year, the LPAC will evaluate the child's academic and language progress to determine if they can be reclassified. We will now talk about approved programs in Texas to provide bilingual education to students identified as emergent bilingual. There are 6 programs in bilingual education. On the left in green are the bilingual program models. These are required when the school district has 20 students with the same language in the same grade or level throughout the pre-K through 12th grade. Dual language programs, Immersion One Way and Immersion Two Way, provide instruction in the home language and English simultaneously. The goal is to develop bilingualism, biliteracy, and biculturalism. This model is generally recognized as the most effective bilingual program because it leads to the most cognitive development and the greatest academic success. Transitional programs, early and late exit, provide decreasing instruction in the home language while increasing instruction in English, with the goal of achieving proficiency in English. The programs to the right in red are ESL program models and are for districts with less than 20 students with the same language at the same pre-K through 12th level or grade level. In these models, instruction is in English only, but with language supports, with the goal of achieving English proficiency. Although bilingual education programs have different goals, they all promote the academic success of students by respecting their home language. Now let's take a closer look at the academic and linguistic benefits for dually identified students participating in bilingual and ESL programs. In this slide, we can see the academic and linguistic benefits for children who are dually identified and receive language support in addition to special education services. Best practice supports and promotes bilingual education for all emergent bilingual students, even when that student also needs the support of another program, such as special education. Neurologists have shown that when children have access to opportunities to continue to increase literacy in the home language while also developing English, cognitive and problem-solving skills improve. When students learn in two languages, research indicates that they have higher academic performance in all subjects because bilingual education promotes the development and use of different linguistic skills, which assist students to perform at the appropriate standards for their grade or age. In addition, bilingual education provides children with the value of being bilingual and biliterate, having the ability to read, write, listen, and speak in two languages. And as we know, a person who knows two languages is valuable. Students who are eligible to receive both bilingual education and special education are legally entitled to both programs, and research indicates that providing both is in the best interest of the student, as bilingual education can also support a child's disability at the same time. Research in the neurological and linguistic functioning of emergent bilingual and dually identified students supports that bilingual programs give higher academic performance in the long run and can occur while respecting students' language, identity, and disability. Additionally, because bilingual education programs develop students' home language alongside English, this increases self-esteem and motivation in dually identified students to be able to learn the academic and social content necessary to be successful. There are many resources for families to continue promoting the importance of learning and making connections with family knowledge. On the txel.org website, you'll find resources to enhance literacy and math skills, along with information about the school's expectations for supporting the linguistic, academic, and special needs of children. The site also offers various examples and instructional videos that families can access. Additionally, there is a newsletter packed with important information, upcoming events, and other relevant topics throughout the academic year, including specific content for children receiving special education services. Subscribing ensures that families stay informed and actively engaged in their child's education. Remember, there is a team at TEA that is ready to serve and answer questions. Thank you very much for your time and attention today. Here is the contact information in case you want to communicate with the Emergent Bilingual Support Division at the Texas Education Agency. Also, please remember that you can contact SpedTex for any questions that you may have about special education. Again, it was a great pleasure to share this space with each of you. For the agency, as well as for us at SpedTex and Partners Resource Network, we know that you are the number one supporter of your children. So it is important that you are as informed as possible so that together we can expand and increase access and educational opportunities for your children. Have a nice afternoon. Thank you, everyone, for your time. We are going to go back to Stephanie McLaughlin to share some additional information about Partners Resource Network.
Thank you, Sarah. At Partners Resource Network, our regional coordinators are available to help you understand and navigate the special education process. If you are not already connected with your regional coordinator, give us a call and we will get you connected. For more information, check out our website at prntexas.org, and you can also follow us on Facebook at PRN Texas.
Thanks, Stephanie. Have questions about special education? Contact us at SpedTex, your source for special education information. We are happy to help. Our contact information is on the screen.